The slap was not the end. It was only the ignition point, a spark that lit up an entire world that had already been drenched in gasoline. The cameras might have caught that single shocking moment, but the aftermath was what nobody had been prepared for. Hours later, when the production lights cooled and the gossip blogs ignited, it wasn't silence that followed. It was Jasmine rising with a vengeance, armed not with her fists but with files, receipts, and a determination to drag everyone who had played a role into the storm with her. Rasheeda had thought the blow would end the whispers. Instead, it only began a new kind of fire, one no extinguisher could put out, because this wasn't about bruises anymore. This was about truth. And Jasmine wasn't just holding back tears. She was holding back evidence that could take down the entire franchise. The set after the slap was surreal. Producers who lived for messy drama were frozen, like children who had seen a monster peek out from under their bed. Security was late, stumbling in after the damage had been done, echoing Kirk's frantic, "Stop, stop, stop," as if words could undo what had already gone viral in real time. The cameras clicked off too late, boom mics still humming, ring lights buzzing over silence that cut sharper than any scream. Jasmine stood with a flushed cheek, her phone buzzing in her pocket with calls she didn't want to answer, texts from names she wished she could erase from her contact list. A production assistant shoved a hoodie at her. A medic begged to check. Her swelling, but she brushed it all off. The damage was already done. And worse, she had already realized. This wasn't an accident. This was a setup. Her voice memo was short, but it was a warning to herself. Don't let them turn your pain into their pilot. She hit stop, and in that single moment, she decided to fight differently. Not with fists, not with screaming, but with carefully timed leaks. The kind of leaks that could shift the ground under the network itself. Because when she looked into her blurry reflection in the glass door, she didn't see a victim. She saw a weapon. 3 hours later, while her cheek had cooled back to normal, the internet was burning. Angles of the slap from different phones circulated everywhere, none full, but all damning. Comment sections split down the middle, some claiming Rasheeda had finally defended her marriage, others furious that a grown woman would ever resort to putting her hands on someone. And then came the secret audio, muffled but lethal, of Rasheeda in a production meeting telling someone to keep the angle clean. The internet believed that was the smoking gun, but Jasmine knew better. That wasn't the worst part. That was just the curtain. She posted her own story, a screen recording of her call log, 3 numbers appearing before every major blow-up scene. One saved as wardrobe confirm, another always showing as unknown, and one under a single letter, Monsieur Patterns, patterns that fans could not unsee once she overlaid them with dates of dramatic episodes. Suddenly, people realized the chaos wasn't random. It was orchestrated. But that wasn't even the twist. Jasmine let her audience guess what MJ and AL stood for when she posted the production whiteboard with the word payoff written at the top. Fans filled in the blanks faster than producers could issue statements. Names like Madison Jameson and Marcus Trent filled Twitter threads. Speculation was half the sport. But Jasmine knew the real power wasn't in telling everything, it was in letting people imagine the rest. Her live that night was cinematic. She sat in the back seat of a car, city lights streaking behind her like the backdrop of a confession. The audio wasn't the worst part, she said, her voice steady. The worst part is intent. The worst part is premeditation. The worst part is that somebody looked at me and said, "She can carry this." Then she held up another phone, not hers, unlocked on a text thread that wasn't hers. The words were chilling. If she swings, we own the room. The reply was even colder. If then, we can stage the rest. She ended the live before anyone could screenshot the name, and the internet screamed in chaos. By the next morning, blogs were looping her 38-second voicemail from Kirk, strategizing about a healing arc. Fans didn't hear an apology. They heard business. They heard a man so comfortable with spin that he forgot real people were bleeding in the process. And Jasmine wasn't done. She uploaded a redacted document, an incident protocol guide, from the production Dropbox. Cold typed words, the machine was exposed. How to film aftermath, how to pivot blame, how to control edits. For the first time, viewers saw not just a reality show, but the blueprint behind it. On radio, when Jasmine sat across from a host and spoke with her fingers laced, the city felt the shift. "The worst part is premeditation," she said. "The way they built a calendar around me like I was a storyline, not a person. The way they turned Rasheeda into a hero by coaching her to treat me like an obstacle." Phone lines lit up with insiders confirming staggered arrivals. Call sheets written with notes like, "Keep Jasmine outside. Hold Rasheeda in green room. Roll on approach." Anonymous voices whispered into the mic, voices too tired to lie anymore. The host's whistle cut the silence. "This is your worst part?" Jasmine shook her head. "We're getting warmer." The more she spoke, the heavier the room felt. Every time Rasheeda's publicist tried to deny pre-planned violence, Jasmine countered with receipts. A blurred still photo of a producer wagging a finger behind a light stand, timestamped 10 minutes before the slap. A beauty sponsor pulling out of a campaign the second clarity became an issue. Even Mona Scott Young herself dialed in to control the narrative. But when she sighed, "We stage entrances, not violence," Jasmine tilted her head and said, "But you staged impact." The line went dead. The radio host leaned forward, desperate for the bottom line. If the audio wasn't the worst part and premeditation isn't even the bottom, then what is? Jasmine didn't blink. The bottom is aftermath, a system where the aggressor gets the first interview, the first sympathy edit, the first apology slot, a system where my pain is a product with a release date. That sentence detonated across social media, clipped and reposted in 100,000 captions. By evening, Atlanta wasn't just watching, it was participating. Background extras called in, confessing they'd been told to cry if Jasmine cried. Security guards admitted they were ordered to stand back until after first contact. And still, Jasmine didn't barter her files for silence. "I'm not trading truth for access," she told the host, even as texts pinged her screen with veiled offers. Kirk's vague, "pray for my family" tweet only poured gasoline on the fire. "That's not accountability," Jasmine spat. "That's pity." Language they coach. Then came the hallway. The clip she dropped was only 10 seconds long, but it was enough. A wagged finger, a downward pat, whispered words captured in the glow of a hallway clock. Caption: "You can review protocols. We lived them." 1 million. Views in under an hour. Sponsors deleting logos. Cast members who had been silent suddenly dropping popcorn emojis, hourglasses, even likes on her post. Digital symbols, but in this war, they were sides chosen. Rasheeda countered with a glossy sit-down interview, her PR team wrapping her in words like regret and defense. She denied coaching, denied setup, but never said sorry. And when clips from that interview leaked, claiming Jasmine thrives on chaos, Jasmine didn't scream back. Instead, she posted a manila folder labeled Confession Arc. Draft scripts with scene directions blurred in freeze frames, just enough for fans to connect dots. They didn't need the full script. They only needed to know it existed. That night, in a midtown bar, Tasha leaned across the table and whispered, they had a 3-beat arc planned. Slap, breakdown, confession. They were going to script you as the cause of marriage problems whether you said it or not. Jasmine's stomach turned, realizing even her wardrobe had been part of the setup. Every call, every dress fitting, every moment had been calculated. The betrayal wasn't just Rasheeda's hand, it was the entire machine. By morning, a box with no return address sat on her doorstep. Inside, a USB and a note. You were never supposed to see this. The files inside weren't episodes, they were raw, uncut rehearsals. Producers whispering now before arguments. Background extras told to reset positions. And worst of all, a clear voice from Rasheeda asking, "You sure she won't know this is scripted?" The reply was deadly. "She'll figure it out after we wrap." When Jasmine finally went live to show the USB, she said, "They wanted a confession. Here it is. Reality isn't real, and the worst part isn't the slap, the audio, or the scripts. The worst part is knowing we all went along with it until now." She didn't say when she'd dropped the files, but she ended with, When I post this, there's no going back. The morning after the black screen post that simply read, "Today," the entire city felt like it was holding its breath. Atlanta wasn't just buzzing, it was vibrating. You could hear it in the way radio hosts teased the story before switching songs, in the way barbershops and nail salons debated who was really the villain, and in the way every gossip blog banner read the same thing: Jasmine is about to end it all. The tension wasn't just gossip anymore. It was electricity, an invisible storm cloud that followed every single person tied to the show. Even people who had nothing to do with the feud walked with the unease of knowing their names might be hidden somewhere in those files. At 12:47 p.m., Jasmine finally went live. No glam team, no filters, just her kitchen counter, a laptop, and that little silver USB drive that now felt heavier than the city itself. Her voice was calm, almost too calm. The kind of calm that told everyone watching that she wasn't bluffing. "They wanted a confession," she began, eyes locked on the camera. "But not this one." She clicked open the first folder, and the chat count soared past 300,000. Then the first clip rolled, and jaws dropped across the internet. A producer's voice whispered, "Let her get close. Don't move the cameras yet." Another voice followed, low and sharp. "If it happens, we have her mic'd." The audio was crystal clear, and the chat exploded into chaos. It was undeniable. The slap wasn't spontaneous. It was a production note. Viewers weren't watching a reality show anymore. They were watching a stage play, and the characters were bleeding in real time. Jasmine paused the video. "This was the day of the slap," she said, her tone flat but slicing through the feed. "They knew before I did." Then came the second clip, recorded weeks earlier. Rasheeda sat in a green room with two producers, laughing as they walked her through trigger words. "Remember to mention the disrespect," one producer reminded. Rasheeda nodded like a student memorizing lines. "Got it, I'll build to it." It was casual, almost boring, except it revealed the entire truth. This wasn't reality. This was rehearsal. Jasmine stopped the clip and let her silence hang. "That's not improv," she finally said. "That's a script." Clip 3. Hit harder than anything else. A file labeled Confession Arc Draft. Rasheeda scrolled across the screen. Bullet points spelled out the plan in chilling detail. Frame Jasmine as the root cause of marriage problems. Stage a breakdown scene. Pivot to Kirk as the redemption husband. It was mapped like a chessboard, her humiliation laid out step by step. The comments section detonated. Hashtags like Chaucer rigged reality and Chaucer confession arc flooding every corner of the internet. Halfway through the live, a new viewer popped up in the chat, Mona Scott Young official. She didn't type a word, but her presence alone was like pouring gasoline into the fire. Fans lost their minds. "She's watching," they typed. "She knows." Jasmine smirked at the screen. "Good," she said. "Maybe she'll finally admit who's really pulling the strings." Then she pressed play on the clip that would shake the network to its core. The footage was from a boardroom meeting. Madison Jameson, Marcus Trent, and 3 other executives sat around a table. Clear as day, Madison's voice rang out, "Jasmine is perfect for this. She won't fight back right away. And when she does, it'll look calculated. The audience will eat it up." Then Marcus added, "We can frame Rasheeda as the strong wife holding it together. That keeps her brand safe." Silence followed. The kind of silence that comes when lies collapse under the weight of proof. Jasmine leaned into the mic. "The audio wasn't the worst part," she whispered. "This is the worst part. People sat in a room and decided who would be the villain and who would be the merchandise." The word merchandise trended globally. Within 10 minutes, clips of the boardroom circulated faster than the network could flag them, dissected frame by fans, reaction channels, even news outlets. Everyone wanted to know how far the manipulation went. And then Jasmine dropped. The final twist. "For those of you wondering who gave me this USB," she said, holding up her phone, scrolling to a blurred name. The last text read, "I'm done protecting them." Jasmine smirked. "Let's just say you've seen her in more than one scene." Then she ended the live abruptly, leaving the internet gasping for air. Within an hour, Rasheeda clapped back on Instagram, a 2-slide post, the first a black square, the second a typed statement. She accused Jasmine of selective editing and claimed production footage was always taken out of context. But she didn't deny the authenticity. That silence was deafening. Fans tore her comments apart, accusing her of gaslighting the audience. Memes flooded timelines, stills of Rasheeda rehearsing lines paired with captions like, "When improv comes with a script supervisor." By nightfall, the network announced filming was paused indefinitely. But insiders leaked the truth to blogs. This wasn't about safety, it was about sponsors. Major brands were threatening to walk unless production proved they hadn't staged violence. The panic spread like wildfire. Cast members who had stayed silent all season began dropping cryptic emojis. A popcorn bucket here, an hourglass there. Digital symbols that told fans exactly what they needed to know. Nobody trusted the machine anymore. And just when people thought the night couldn't get messier, Rasheeda went live for 90 seconds. No fancy setup, no production team, just her, staring into the camera. "You think she's the only one with files?" she asked. Then she ended it. That was all it took. The war was now two-sided. By morning, she escalated with a teaser reel titled, "Set the Record Straight." It opened with a black screen and her voice. Receipts go both ways. Then, security cam footage appeared. A grainy angle from a production day 2 months earlier, showing Jasmine laughing in a corner with a producer. Her voice was faint but clear. "If this gets messy, I'm fine with that." Messy works? The clip looped twice, the words highlighted in captions. Comment sections erupted. Some said it was proof Jasmine was complicit. Others argued it was obviously sarcasm taken out of context. 15 minutes later, Jasmine struck back. She uploaded the full 5-minute clip, showing the conversation in context. She was mocking producers with Carly Red, joking about how drama always worked for them. The tone was obvious. Sarcasm, not strategy. Her caption was sharp. "This is what selective editing looks like." Fans cheered. Team Jasmine started trending again, but Rasheeda wasn't finished. Her next move was a muffled audio file, allegedly Jasmine negotiating with crew to stage a run-in with Kirk. The audio was grainy, drowned in background noise, but the voice did sound like Jasmine's. Rasheeda ended her stream with a smirk. Not everything is a setup when you're the one setting it up. The internet went feral. Amateur sleuths dissected waveforms. Some swore the audio was spliced. Others insisted it was genuine. Digital warfare had begun. At 1:22 p.m., Jasmine escalated again. She posted a screenshot of an email, subject line, "Scene breakdown, Rasheeda confrontation." One bullet point stood out in red. "Ensure both talents have leveraged material to maintain mutual exposure." She circled it and wrote, translation, "They make sure we can ruin each other so nobody talks about them." The implication was devastating. Production hadn't just set them up against each other, they had armed both women with enough dirt to destroy each other on command. Fans realized the feud wasn't personal, it was insurance. Carly Red couldn't resist jumping into the chaos. She went live, sipping a drink, smirking into the camera. "Y'all think producers ain't always got backup plans? Please, I've been in this game a long time." When pressed on who she believed, she just tilted her head and said, "Both of them, and neither." Her cryptic neutrality only fanned the flames. That evening, Rasheeda dropped what she claimed was her ace. Screenshots of a text exchange between Jasmine and a crew member. "We can drag it out for more episodes if you want. I know how to keep it going," the alleged message read. Jasmine clapped back instantly, screen recording her own messages app to show no such conversation existed. "They're fabricating receipts now," she snapped, "because the real ones burned them." But the most shocking blow didn't come from either woman. It came from the shadows. Multiple gossip blogs received a compressed folder titled Talent. Leverage. Final. Inside were files on both women, photos, old texts, unaired clips. Some were embarrassing, some career-threatening. The blogs refused to publish them for legal reasons, but screenshots leaked anyway, spreading through Discord servers and group chats. Suddenly, this wasn't just Jasmine versus Rasheeda. It was everyone asking, who leaked the folder? Was it production nuking both their reputations? Or was it an insider trying to burn the house down from within? At 2 a.m., Jasmine went live one more time, dimly lit, USB drive sitting beside her laptop. "You've seen what they want you to see," she said. "Tomorrow you'll see what they never wanted anyone to have. And when that happens, this won't be a two-woman feud. It'll be a network crisis." Across town, Rasheeda posted a photo of herself holding a hard drive. Caption: "Let's see whose files hit first." By sunrise, the city wasn't divided anymore. It was bracing for destruction. Both women had promised to drop their nuclear weapons at noon. Every gossip page plastered the same headline: 12 noon, files drop. By the time noon approached, Atlanta felt like the center of the universe. Every barbershop TV, every corner store radio, every phone in every hand seemed tuned into the countdown. This wasn't just gossip anymore. It was history in motion, and everyone wanted to witness the implosion. Bloggers called it Judgment Day, fans dubbed it Confession Sunday, and the network quietly called it their worst nightmare. But none of that mattered, because at exactly 11:58 a.m., two women went live. Jasmine on one side of the city, kitchen, counter, USB in hand. Rasheeda on the other, in front of ring lights, boutique branding gleaming behind her, a hard drive balanced on her lap. Two separate streams, two separate energies, but one inevitable collision. The viewer counts skyrocketed like rival scoreboards. Hundreds of thousands poured in, refreshing, screen recording, typing hashtags like Shark Team Jasmine and Team Rasheeda. Comment sections scrolled too fast to read, but one thing was clear. Everyone knew something irreversible was about to happen. Jasmine broke the silence first. Her voice was steady, sharp, the voice of someone who had already made peace with the fallout. "They've had a year to tell the truth," she said, sliding the USB into her laptop. "I'm going to show you why they never will." Her fingers clicked, and the folder labeled Confession Arc, complete, opened. On the other side of the E. Screen, Rasheeda smirked and leaned forward. "If Jasmine wants to show files, so will I. Let's see how selective this truth really is." She clicked open her own folder. Unseen Jasmine. The war was live, unfolding in two different feeds that fans flipped between like a double feature thriller. The first file from Jasmine's side was raw rehearsal footage from a week before the slap. There was no mistaking it. Rasheeda standing with a producer, running lines about putting Jasmine in her place. The director's voice floated in. "Make sure it feels spontaneous. We'll cut around the cues." It was undeniable. The slap wasn't heat of the moment. It was staged. The chat on Jasmine's stream erupted, words like proof and caught scrolling faster than she could read. At the exact same time, Rasheeda's stream played her first clip, shaky handheld footage of Jasmine in a makeup chair. Whispering. To a crew member, she asked, "If I let her get close, you think she'll actually swing?" The words were faint but audible, the implication devastating. On Rasheeda's feed, Team Rasheeda surged instantly. Fans screamed that Jasmine had baited the blow. But on Jasmine's side, her supporters countered that the clip was cut, baited, another setup. Digital trenches deepened, sides drawn harder than ever. Jasmine didn't flinch. Her second file rolled, a boardroom meeting where Madison Jameson said clearly, "If this feud doesn't last 3 episodes, we plant more triggers." The words "plant more triggers" echoed across Twitter like a siren. New hashtags exploded. Triggergate, rigged reality. Screenshots circulated so fast they clogged timelines. Rasheeda tried to keep momentum by dropping her own evidence. Screenshots of alleged texts where Jasmine told a stylist, "I'll wear whatever makes the slap pop on camera." But Jasmine clapped back instantly on her stream. "That's not my number, that's a Google voice line. Fake receipts because the real ones burned them." Fans split, but doubts began creeping into Rasheeda's camp. And then at 12:17 p.m., it happened. Both women unknowingly opened the same file at the same time. Different titles, same contents, leverage materials, final. What they saw was worse than anything either had imagined. Page after page detailed every piece of dirt production had on both of them. Old texts, leaked DMs, compromising footage, even fabricated storylines planned as backups. Worse, It outlined how to deploy each piece for maximum exposure. Timelines were mapped out like battle strategies, complete with notes like deploy during hiatus and use to pivot sponsor backlash. It was the infamous mutual destruction folder. And now, the world was seeing it in real time. On Jasmine's chat, comments screamed, "They played you both." On Rasheeda's, fans typed, "Y'all both puppets." The energy shifted instantly. This wasn't a feud anymore, it was revelation. Both women's faces showed the same realization at once. Neither had expected the other to have this file. Jasmine scrolled slowly, her silence louder than any words. Rasheeda took off her mic midstream, staring at the screen like a woman betrayed by her own reflection. But the streams didn't stop. Viewers clipped, reposted, dissected. It was too late to put anything back. The file even detailed backup arcs in case fan fatigue set in, introducing new cast members, leaking cross-franchise drama, even dragging in outside celebrities to keep attention high. A bullet point read, "If feud collapses, pivot to redemption duet." Fans erupted. Redemption duet? Was this all meant to end with a staged reconciliation? Suddenly, nobody cared who threw the slap. They cared about how deeply they had all been manipulated. By 12:30 p.m., both streams had turned from rivalry to reckoning. Jasmine's voice cracked but didn't break. "They rode us as weapons," she said. "They made sure we had just enough ammo to destroy each other so we never turned on them." Across the city, Rasheeda muttered almost the same. Words, "They wanted mutual destruction, and we gave it to them." The final blow came when Jasmine's phone lit up midstream. Caller ID, M. Jameson. She didn't mute it. She answered on speaker. Madison's voice was sharp, panicked. "End the stream, both of you, now. You'll issue a joint statement. Damage control is still possible." On Rasheeda's stream, viewers' eye saw her phone flash with the same incoming call. She let it ring. "I'm not issuing anything," she said coldly to her fans. Jasmine stared into her camera, then smiled without joy. "It's too late. They already saw it." She unplugged the USB, lifted it into the air, and dropped it into a glass of water on camera. You can't own what's destroyed. On her own stream, Rasheeda stood up, walked off camera, and returned with a stack of printed documents. Without saying a word, she fed them into a shredder live. The grinding blades chewed paper louder than her earlier clapbacks. Fans went feral. Memes popped up instantly. The water glass and shredder side by side, captions like "the end of an era." Hashtags, USB vs shredder and reality over trended globally within minutes. Within the hour, the network suspended production indefinitely and locked every official show account. But the damage was beyond control. Cast members who had stayed silent began liking shady posts. One tweeted simply, "We told y'all." Sponsors quietly pulled campaigns. Reaction channels ran live streams replaying both feeds side by side, frame by frame. And then, in private circles, an anonymous Dropbox link began circulating, allegedly containing unedited episodes from the past 3 seasons. No edits, no music, just raw footage. If it was real, it wasn't just 2 women being exposed, it was the entire franchise. By evening, the feud wasn't Jasmine versus Rasheeda anymore. It was everybody versus the machine. Bloggers asked the question nobody wanted to face. Who leaked the mutual destruction folder? Was it a fed-up insider finally torching the system? Or was it just another manipulation, another layer of drama meant to keep fans hooked? Theories ran wild. Some said Tasha, others pointed at Carly, some even whispered Kirk himself, the quiet puppeteer, trying to shift the narrative before his own secrets surfaced. In the days that followed, silence wasn't peace, it was panic. Jasmine posted nothing. Rasheeda vanished offline. The network's PR team churned out vague apologies that nobody believed. But fans didn't need their words anymore. They had seen the machine, the scripts, the manipulation. They had seen the receipts that proved reality TV wasn't reality at all. And once that truth leaked, there was no going back. The slap had started as a spark. But by the time the water glass drowned the USB and the shredder devoured the scripts, the fire had consumed everything. The franchise, the sponsors, the illusion. and maybe, just maybe, the future of reality TV itself. Because when you let the audience see the strings, the puppets stop dancing.